حتى تعانق دمعة الفكر، تناجي الله في صبر وترجو رحمة تسري، فعاش القلب إخلاصا وصرت تحوم كالطير، تحلق في ثقافات وتنهل من ربى الخير.
Okay, assalamu alaikum guys, hope you guys are doing well. I've got two dear guests here, as you can see, Muhammad Hijab and Brother Musa. They've come and I'm looking after them with fruit. Look at
Muhammad Hijab.
Look at my hospitality, look at this.
Muhammad Hijab and Musa Niqab.
Oh.
It's a good thing because we're actually talking about hijab today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
So it's quite appropriate, myself.
I actually haven't seen this video we're going to be reacting to.
Alright, when I kind of saw it briefly and I was like, really? Like, our sister's really affected by this? Like in a way like, oh, like she found something new?
And not just sisters, brothers, it could be as well.
Yeah, brothers as well, both. Brothers and sisters, like.
Back in time, 1400 years, to the city of Medina, Saudi Arabia. When a woman awoke in the middle of the night with the urge to relieve herself, she would have to walk out past the outskirts of the city and into the wild by herself. Believe it or not, a group of men actually began to see an opportunity in women's nightly
Can you pause it
trance,
for a second?
which was a garment, like a coat. The men knew to leave her alone. A jilbab of centuries ago was a status symbol, like a Burberry trench or a Chanel jacket. It announced that the woman was free, and a free woman was protected by her clan. She would have no problem speaking out against the attacker and identifying him. But if the woman walking out at night wasn't wearing a jilbab, if she happened to be dressed a bit more freely, then the men knew she was a slave, and they attacked her. Concerned members of the community brought the situation to the Prophet, and like so many other social, political, and familial issues that Muhammad faced during his prophethood, he turned this particular matter over to God. And a verse was revealed for the Quran, the Muslim holy book. O Prophet, it reads, tell your wives, your daughters, and the women of the believers to draw upon themselves their garments.
I think
This is better, so that they not be known and molested.
This is selective translation here. As we'll come to realize, is a very specific kind of garment which covers this very specific type of the body. But there's another part of the Quran which says that, which hopefully she'll mention.
Basically, the verse advises that all women dress similarly, so that they can't be picked out from one another. And then there was the matter of practicality. How would a slave do her work? How would she function if her body was constricted by a coat?
No, so she's
How would
saying
she
that.
cook,
So
clean,
she
fetch water?
doesn't need to wear.
In the end,
she's
the
talking
early
in general.
Muslim scholars ruled that a woman's way of dress should be based on two considerations.
A woman's
A
Muslim
woman's
dress.
Okay.
function in society,
Of-
her role, what we might consider her job,
That's one.
and the society's specific customs.
Okay.
Or, in another way,
Okay.
when
What is it?
in Rome. Now, Muslims like to
Yeah.
take historical rulings and apply them to the modern era.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I
So
understand what
she's saying
she's
the
saying.
scholars have said
I understand what she's
those
saying.
two things. So that's the principle. Yeah?
Okay.
So that's
She's
the
saying,
basis.
she's saying the principle
Oh, okay, it's based on social.
for what you wear
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
is who
And-
you
and-
are, yeah, in
and what was the
society.
second one?
Oh, that's her social status and how the norms of society.
Okay, she mentioned those two, yeah?
Yeah.
She's saying that's the basis. So she's saying that was back then.
So if it's a
what
yeah.
the scholars are doing a mistake is bringing that to today's time and saying, no, this is a different era.
She's saying what scholars are doing
Is
is
right.
making historical.
She's doing
Evidence,
she's doing qiyas with timings. In those times were like this, in these times are like
Okay,
that.
alright, okay, well,
Is that correct?
it's not correct because there's some things which are thabit in the deen which are very straightforward, like prayers.
Yeah.
That's if you use the same logic. So okay, 5 prayers a day are historical ruling. Yeah, it came down at the time of the Prophet.
Yeah.
So what's gonna stop us from praying now? Is there anything stopping us from praying now? What's the difference here between the injunctions of prayer and injunctions of anything else? Like fasting. Where is the line going to be drawn? Who's going to draw the line?
Yeah.
So she's attempting to draw the line in a place where it suits maybe her personal
Preference,
self
yeah.
or preference.
Yeah.
But then she has to be asked, where are you getting this information
Yeah,
from?
that's what
Is
I'm
this
trying to
coming from the Quran or Sunnah?
Yeah,
or is
exactly.
it coming from scholarly consensus? Or is
Yeah.
it coming from you?
Yeah.
And if
And
it's
this
coming
is-
from you, then who are you?
And this is really important because a lot of people that come and say, I, me, I, we discuss this a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
be careful. You know why? Because we're saying, look, the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Salaf, yeah?
Evidence.
These three are key. If somebody comes and says to you, I, me, we, interpret it like that, be careful. Because we're looking for Quran, Sunnah, and the Salaf, yeah?
And
Did
more
they understand
generally,
it like
Quran,
that?
Sunnah, Ijma' as well.
A woman's way of dress should be based on custom and function.
Custom and function.
So what does that mean for a Muslim woman living in America today? For someone like me? First, it means that I have a function, a role in society, a contribution that I can make. Second, it means that while I'm making that contribution and living in a society where veiling is not the custom, and where in fact if I veil it might actually lead to harassment, then wearing what is the custom, such as a dress, a pair of jeans, or even yoga pants, is not only acceptable.
What's the yoga? What are yoga pants? Sorry.
What? Huh?
Yoga, bro.
Yoga
Yoga
pants.
pants is like them. Yoga pants.
Okay.
Like tie leggings.
Leggings.
Okay. So okay, where the question is, where's she getting this information?
Before she got to the information, what did she say last? Because she said it's, what is it, detrimental? And did she say
She goes, it's because
Because,
it causes harassment now to
Yeah,
wear a
yeah,
hijab.
yeah. Or
Then it's a
niqab,
different,
yeah.
yeah. So that's
No,
what
that's ridiculous. Because what she's basically trying to say, I understand what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say wearing the niqab, it's come to a point, it's so dangerous, a sister's life's in danger here. The scholars might come and say, look,
Yeah,
sister is
of
better
course.
with the
We're
hijab.
not talking about
What
that.
she's saying is,
Yeah.
look, full out, basically, I have to look like you. So then
What
I'm
she's
not-
saying is what she's wearing.
No, what?
Yeah,
let me
she's
tell
saying
you,
what
let me
she's
tell you,
wearing
let me
is
tell you
fine,
something, right?
basically.
What she's
Yeah,
saying is
obviously
that
that's clear, 'cause
we have
yeah.
to bow, is what she's really saying.
Yeah.
We have to bow to the post-colonial Western
Yeah.
What did you just do?
expectation.
Yeah.
Do you get it? And if we don't bow to that, because we're going to be harassed otherwise, then we're going to be fearful of our harassment. And therefore, if we're fearful of our harassment, we shouldn't practice our religion. So if tomorrow they say don't pray,
Yeah.
we should say, okay, the same thing applies with prayer then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if
Yeah.
after tomorrow they say don't say the Shahada, don't say you're Muslim,
Yeah.
then the same thing will continue
Yeah.
to apply until there's nothing left of Islam.
Yeah.
And so if she, because the thing is, she's going against the
Yeah, no, of course.
scholarly
Look,
consensus here.
just say
Bro.
this, bro. Just say this. I find it hard to wear it, but the commandment is clear. Just say that instead of.
Well, let's see what she has to say. Let's
No,
continue.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see how it goes.
Wait, could that be right? After all, haven't we all come to assume that a Muslim woman must veil? That veiling is a requirement of her faith.
Okay.
There's even a term that we've all come to associate with the Muslim woman's veil, an Arabic term that we've all heard used whether or not we've been aware of it. Hijab.
Is she calling me?
So maybe I missed it. Maybe the requirement that a woman veil is in a different part of the Quran. For those of you who don't know, the Quran consists of 114 chapters. Of the 6,000 plus verses, 3 refer to how a woman should dress. The first is the verse I've already told you about. The second is a verse that directly speaks to the Prophet's wives, asking that they begin to dress a bit more modestly because of their role, their function in society as his wives. And the third verse is similar to the first in that it was revealed in direct response to a historical situation. Early records show that the custom, the fashion during the pre-Islamic era was for women to wear a scarf on the head called a khimar.
Oh, stop right there, my friend.
Behind the ears.
Okay, this is. I'm sorry to have to do this, right? But since she's gonna come out now and reinvent the wheel,
Yeah.
we have to be convinced of her qualifications and her ability to have access to the Quran.
Yeah.
So she called it a khimar.
Does anyone know who she is?
What's the
I don't know. It's an Sami or something, but let me tell you something. Khimar
check
is
that.
nothing in Arabic. It means nothing. The word she was trying to actually pronounce was
Khimar.
khimar. Okay, so khimar is the way to say the word.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not. Believe you me, I'm not trying to be
Petty.
petty here.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I'm saying if you're gonna come out and
It does
try
show
and
a lot.
reinvent
Yeah.
the wheel, and you can't even pronounce the word properly,
Yeah.
then
talking
that
about-
shows something about your
It's ignorance. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's ignorance.
Totally. But don't have the courage to spread your ignorance.
To flow behind the back. In the front, a woman wore a tight vest or a bodice, which she left open, exposing
Before,
her
she's
breasts.
talking about before.
Well,
Jahiliyyah.
explain.
Those are
Jahiliyyah.
images you see in Game
It's true,
of
Jahiliyyah,
Thrones.
they used to wear stuff like that.
When Islam spread through the Arabian Peninsula, a verse was sent down asking that women use this scarf or any other garment to cover the breasts. And that's it. That's basically all there is in the Quran concerning how...
No.
Okay, Muhammad Hijab is not happy about this.
I'm
Why?
not happy because... So the verse in the Quran, chapter 24, verse 31. وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. So let them, i.e. the women, throw their khimars over their bosoms. Yeah? This khimar here, the word khimar itself, look at any Arabic dictionary of the early period.
Yeah.
Lisan al-Arab, Taj al-Arus, Mufradat al-Quran, anything you want.
Yeah.
Look at any of the Arabic poetry.
Yeah.
Look at, because the Jahili poetry,
Yeah.
the old Arabic poetry, it tells us what the Arabs how used to use words.
Yeah.
Look at any of the ahadith that are used of the Prophet. The word khimar means a head covering that goes down. That's what it means.
Also, doesn't it mean like, if you know alcohol, what's alcohol? Khamr.
Khamr, yeah.
Khamr. Doesn't that mean that it covers the head? You know when you drink alcohol,
Covers the mind.
It covers
the
your
mind.
judgment.
It covers the mind.
Which is a root word, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's the same word.
Yeah.
But it covers the mind. Yeah?
Yes.
So I wouldn't use that as evidence here. But what I'm saying is that it's from the head. It starts from the head.
Yeah.
The word itself, something which starts at the head and goes down. Now the question is, where does it go down to? And this is where the discussion is with the Muslim scholars. Yeah. Some scholars, which are the minority, we have to say, but still, just because they're a minority doesn't mean that they have a weaker opinion.
Yeah.
The Hanabila, they say it goes down fully, so it covers the face as well.
Yeah.
And some others say no, it goes down like this. Yeah. So in other words, it goes down, but it allows the hands and the face to be shown. Now, this is a very well-known difference of opinion, but it starts from the head. The word khimar necessitates a begin. There's absolutely, the thing. If there's any doubt about it, it would have been talked about by someone in the past. But there's no doubt about it whatsoever that for the 1,400 years of Islamic history and the hundreds, I'm not talking about tens of thousands, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of scholars that have discussed this matter, have always confined it to this difference of opinion. Either it's the face and the hands that are covered.
Has any scholar ever come and said hijab?
No scholar in the history of Islam has ever said that no head can be covered for a free woman.
Turns out, God doesn't give a bullet point of all the parts on a woman's body that He wants hidden from view. And in fact, it might be argued, and it is argued. I cannot stress enough that it is argued by many Muslim scholars.
Wait, stop.
The reason these verses were left intentionally vague is so that a woman could choose for herself how to dress according to her
Alright, one second.
culture and the progression of time.
Please tell me which scholar said that.
It's just I could sit here and say, guys, loads of scholars, so many have said that me drinking wine is cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a reference.
Yeah. Look, we're passionate.
Yeah.
Let's not target her. But it's ignorance, yeah? So we're just upset with the ignorance, yeah? Not the sin,
No,
not the sinner.
it's responding to the point.
Yes,
responding to the point.
So
ignorance.
Yeah. So like, which scholar? Because she's coming up with these stuff, these stories.
Ali, I mean,
have you heard of this? Okay, look.
Let me tell you something. If we stood in front of a Christian, or a Jew, or an atheist, or anyone, because we argue against these people, we say, look, a lot of your scholars say this, a lot of your scholars say that, and we just said it like that.
Yeah.
What's the first question they have a right to
Which
ask?
scholar?
Which scholar said that?
Let me ask you a question as well, yeah? At the time, before Islam, would women go around the Kaaba topless and naked?
Bro, it did happen, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, this actually goes against her initial point.
Why?
Oh.
Because she said that it needs to be a societal norm. It needs to be a norm in society. And you need to be accustomed to your society. You need to be dressing in a way that your society is comfortable with.
Yeah.
A full jilbab is not what the Arabs were comfortable with at that time.
Oh, do you get his point?
It's a good point,
If they would go around topless and if they would go around the Kaaba naked, how is that a societal norm?
Yeah, you actually
It goes against your point.
Yeah.
Wearing a jilbab in this country is more of a societal norm than you would have been wearing it at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Before his coming.
Before Islam. Before
Yeah.
Islam.
And also, can I say something? Isn't it referred to, because I can remember I did a video about this a long time ago, isn't the word khimar actually refers to like,
Yeah, he spoke
hey,
about
hey,
this.
like, where are your socks? Where does my socks belong? On my head? On my hand?
Yeah.
Like, what I'm trying to say is the
Yeah.
word itself
Yeah.
is that when it was used with the Arabs, when they would look at a horse, and if the horse was white, and this part of his head onwards was black, they would have said, oh, look, he's
Yeah.
wearing a khimar. So,
Yeah.
doesn't the khimar, the word actually mean that it's the word within itself is actually referring to the head?
The
like,
head,
Like,
yeah.
like just the way if I said to you, look.
The socks refer to the feet.
Thank you.
Yes, there, like that.
Exactly.
And that term hijab, guess what? It's not in any of these 3 verses.
Okay, one second. This is, sorry, I think this is the only reaction video I've ever done that I stop every 10 seconds. one second.
Go on, bro.
This, you know why there's a big problem here?
Yeah.
The word hijab has got nothing to do with the veil anyways.
Sahih. It's true.
Okay, now what
Good
she's
point.
done is this. We have come to this country, and in this country we've referred to it as the hijab.
Yes.
Okay.
And
now
even, by
what
the way,
she-
in Arab countries, they call it
in
hijab.
the Arab countries, yeah, they refer it
Hence
to
my
as
surname.
hijab, yeah?
Hence my surname.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, what she's done is there's this new word that's been made,
Yeah.
and she is using this argument to say, hey, the Quran doesn't mention the hijab. And we're like, you're right. It doesn't mention the hijab. And then we both agree on that.
The word hijab is always made for like barrier or something like that.
Yes, yes.
In the
But
Quran.
what she's missing out is she's saying, look, the hijab isn't mentioned. And we're like, obviously.
What, do you know what this is
because
called?
What is the core fundamental belief of a Muslim?
I'm
Tawheed.
allergic to apples, man.
Tawheed,
Yes,
right?
Tawheed, yeah.
Tawheed, believing in one God.
You're allergic to
Wait,
apple.
the core fundamental belief of a Muslim is believing in one God, monotheism, Tawheed.
Tawheed.
How many times is Tawheed mentioned in the Quran?
In its
Exactly.
pure form, as like
In-
that?
in Tawheed.
Never like
Never.
that. It's in Sahih Muslim though, just to be...
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Oh, of
yeah.
course. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we were to use that argument,
Exactly.
Sahih.
how
You know,
many
it's a
times
good
is
point.
Christian mentioned in the Bible?
None?
How many times Christian? No. These arguments are pure. I personally feel like it's just a personal thing for her. She don't want to wear
You
the
know,
hijab.
shall I tell you something, yeah? Because this just shows to me, anyone that would believe this and take this,
But you know what?
you have
Can I tell you something?
desire
Can I
problems.
say something? Yeah. If the word hijab was used, she would probably have an argument. But the fact that the word khimar is used
Yeah.
and jilbab, or the plurals of
She's
both
got
of
nowhere
them,
to, yeah.
she's got nowhere to go because the word khimar actually specifies a location, actual centrality from the head
Yeah.
going downward. So if the word hijab was used, it would be more unspecific than the word khimar or jilbab.
I'm desperate. I need to pee. I just came suddenly. Like honestly, I'm.
No, you know what? Undo your first button. You're flipping, squeezing your flipping bladder.
Make sure it doesn't come on.
Can I go to the toilet? Just pee.
That means hijab. That physical screen, that means hijab. That barrier, that divide, that means hijab. Hijab doesn't mean a woman's veil.
Exactly.
Yes.
But she's right though.
It turns out that the Prophet's first wife was what we would define today as a CEO. And Muhammad's second wife, she rode into battle on the back of a camel, which is equivalent to a woman riding into battle today inside of a Humvee or a tank. One woman became famous as a general when she led her army of men into battle and crushed a rebellion. Women even loudly debated with the Prophet himself.
So far we agree, yes?
With
No,
those
yeah,
things,
of
they
course.
will go.
Islam empowers women.
Yeah.
There you go. Look, we calm. We okay with that.
Of course.
Society to 600 AD, it might be a huge step forward.
See, they're laughing. The crowd is laughing.
Okay,
I'm happy with
that's
that.
a sick point she made. I have to give it to her.
Yeah.
She's saying if we go back to that time,
Yeah.
the woman actually have more rights. Yes?
Yeah.
Islamically as well, yeah? Obviously.
She's saying progression is
Bro,
within...
exactly. That was a profound point that I would give it to the sister.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that's exactly what we push out today. And that's why the problem is we found out that she's a feminist. Yes?
Yeah, okay.
She has this movement in America. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, this is what we say when we give our talks, yeah? We say, look, if you want to abolish the abuse of women by men, acid attacks, beating, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
what do? Bring something that's man-made 1400 years later, or like she said, go back 1400 years ago.
Yeah.
Islam.
Yeah, do you get what I'm trying to
That's
say?
a good point.
Exactly.
You
So
know,
she's not implementing what
you're
she's saying.
absolutely right.
But did you get my point?
I got your point.
If we want to get over, beat this abuse
Actually,
towards women, etc.,
Yeah.
Speed it up.
yeah,
Go on.
we should implement the Quran and Sunnah. This is how we abolish these kinds of things.
O Prophet, Tell your wives, your daughters, and the women of the believers to draw upon themselves their garments. Parentheses. A garment is a veil that covers the entire head and the face, the neck, the breast, all the way down to the ankles and all the way to the wrists. Everything on a woman's body is exposed except for one eye, because she must see where she is
I know
headed.
what translation that is.
And the hands must be covered in gloves.
Okay. She tried saying that the people who have been entrusted with the interpretation of the Quran
Yeah.
are men, and as if all the people that have been entrusted with the interpretation of the Quran have been men.
No, actually, he hasn't.
Okay, so let's think about, even at the time of the Prophet,
Yeah.
which women were at the fore of interpreting Quranic jurisprudence or Quranic verses in the light of jurisprudence.
Yeah.
People like Aisha, radiallahu anha,
Yeah.
people like Salama,
Yeah.
people like Zainab.
So they actually interpreted this.
These are the women who we have the, I would say, I don't know, but the majority of ahadith
Yeah.
that refer to the hijab
Yeah.
come from these women.
It comes from them.
It comes
I
from
can drop the
women.
mic. I don't want to do this video anymore. Hello.
It
Goodbye.
comes from women, I think.
Aki, goodbye.
Bro,
I'm going, Aki.
more ahadith come from Aisha than Umar.
Forget that. They specifically translated these verses to mean what?
I'm telling you, Aisha, she's the one. When these verses came down,
Aki, that's
when these verses came down, when
That's
the
it.
mothers of the believers they heard these verses,
Yeah.
they are the ones who not only they knew what it meant, but they acted upon it instantaneously
Instantly,
by
man.
taking the.
Yeah, I heard that
Go on.
Ansari women would actually rip parts of their clothes when the verses came down and wrap it around their head.
So were they women or men that were doing this?
What do you mean?
It was women that were doing
Yeah.
this, right? So how did they interpret the Quran? They were the women that were interpreting the Quran. So what she's doing here, the first problem is that she's doing a disservice to herself, thinking that it's all men. No, it's not all men. Number two,
Yeah.
let's just say it is all men for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, there is a considerable amount of Islamic scholars that are women. A considerable amount. More than any other religion. Hundreds of thousands of Muslim scholars,
Yeah.
men
They
and
got it-
women,
they got it all
they
wrong.
colluded. Now think of it this way:
Yeah.
they colluded together
Yeah.
to intentionally superimpose a very specific type of
Yeah,
meaning
exactly.
onto the verse of the Quran
Yeah, and get away with it.
and get away with
And
it.
you
Not
keep-
one of them, or not at least a community of them,
Yeah.
who have reputation, who understand the sacred sciences, would stand up and say, you know what, let's do the right thing and interpret the verses in the correct way in light of the Arabic
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, exactly.
This is actually a conspiracy. The word khimar, as we said, it means from the top to the bottom. So he took, okay, that means the whole body.
Basically, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The only difference is it one eye? Is it niqab? Is it like just your
That's
face,
it.
hand?
He took the view that it's one eye. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, you don't need to take that view.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that this is within the scope of discussion.
Yeah.
What she's saying is not within the scope
Yeah.
of discussion.
Islam is not conforming to the social norms, so she feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
that.
it's desires, man. It's desires. It's not nice. Did she mention one scholar? Did she
No,
mention
she
one
actually
scholar?
didn't make
Aki?
any reference.
One.
There was no
Don't make
reference. Even when she referenced the Quran, she didn't reference it.
To be honest, I'll make it very simple. Okay, let's just wrap up with this. Yeah, any sister, any brother, whatever that watches this and sees it as something that affects them, I'm sorry, desires. There's nothing, zero. So guys, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shut up.
Hey, give me one. Thanks, Arnie. Subscribe. Woohoo!